Hi, this is Pete May, co-founder of GreenBiz Group, and I'm excited to be on GreenBiz Studio today with Misti Murphey, who's Director of Marketing and CSR for Electrify America. Misti, welcome to GreenBiz Studio.
Thanks, Pete. I'm delighted to be with you today.
Great. Well, I was looking over your LinkedIn profile. You have a rich background in the automotive industry. Tell us a little bit about how you've come into the role you're in now with Electrify America.
Yeah, Pete, as you said, my career's really been in the automotive industry, but the opportunity to join Electrify America was a real great, unique opportunity for me to really take my marketing experience and be able to start a brand. But I really have a strong passion for sustainability and obviously automotive. And so being able to work with automotive brands and sustainability seemed like a perfect fit for Electrify America. And when the time came, I had some friends that over at Electrify America, and they needed somebody to really kind of, help build the brand of Electrify America. And I said, absolutely. I believe in the mission of what Electrify America is doing, of building a high-speed charging network across the United States and obviously now in Canada. And of course, I'm passionate about sustainability and passionate about automotive vehicles. And so it just seemed like a natural fit for me to join Electrify America. And it's now going on almost 4 years.
Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about that. Obviously you can't open a newspaper or go online these days without somebody talking about whether it's Joe Biden or anyone talking about how we need to increase and update how the bottleneck we have in charging infrastructure. And I know Electrify America is building a DC fast charging network. So it seems like you have kind of a tension here. On the one hand, you have to create a network that can allow for real, wholesale expansion of the EV market. But how do you do that in a way that the network doesn't become outdated or obsolete?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Electrify America has been, on this quest of building out a high-speed charging network. When we started on this journey of a high-speed network, we could have taken the easy route and putting in, 50 kilowatt chargers, but we decided that we were going to go down the path of really building out, 150, 350 kilowatts and, building for the future electric vehicles. And so, today, if we're close to nearly hitting the 700 charging station mark. And so we're literally building at a rate of, almost 1.2 stations every 4 days. So it's at this unprecedented rate. And so we're building charging stations where, EV drivers and quite frankly, consumers want to, go. So it's shopping malls, grocery stores. And so at this point, by the end of the year, we'll be at 800 charging stations, 3,500 chargers, right? So at any, charging station, there's going to be a minimum of 4 chargers. And so when we think about it, we're working with automotive companies to, develop charging programs. So when you buy an electric vehicle, the automotive companies are working with Electrify America to embed, free charging with the purchase of an EV through the Electrify America charging network, right? So we're not just building a charging, network where nobody's going to go and charge. So we're being very methodical about, helping increase the EV adoption. So it's a very strategic approach. High-speed charging is needed. Where you place the chargers is needed. Put them into places where you have 24 access, but also where places people go to eat, shop, well-lit stations, and obviously working with the charging manufacturers to really increase EV adoption is essential to success.
Yeah, that's great. So the last question is, I framed that, and again, it's easy to frame right now. The bottleneck we all see, the anxiety drivers on EVs or non-drivers of EVs feel when they're like, well, I'm not ready for EVs because I just don't know if the infrastructure is there yet. We obviously have a public sector challenge in really building that out nationally, and you all are part of that. So, the present in EV infrastructure is kind of framed with a problem, but let's talk about in the future and the possibility and the opportunity. So let's say we get this right. Let's say there's wholesale expansion in the EV charging infrastructure, and it looks really great. What does the world, tell us a little bit to close, what does the world look like in 5 or 10 years relative to EVs and the infrastructure that serves it?
Yeah. Well, Pete, I believe we will get this right. And in 5 years, I'm optimistic that, EV charging will be something that drivers won't think about, right? You will go and you will find a charging station everywhere and anywhere. Charging will be super fast. You will have, cars that can take a 300 to 350 kilowatt charge. Today, there are cars on the market today. For example, Lucid Air's customer deliveries just took place this past weekend. And a Lucid Air, peak charging is over 300 kilowatts. These are cars that are charging in under 20 minutes, right? So, EV driving and EV charging in 5 years is going to be seamless. It's going to replicate what gasoline ICE vehicle cars have experienced, today. That is what, in 5 years, EV drivers are going to be. We're going to be matching the feeling centers of today. EV drivers that are going to be driving in 5 years aren't going to have to think about charging. When you go home and you plug in your EV, you're going to wake up with a complete, full charge. It's like having a full tank of gas. You're not going to have to think about charging. Charging stations are going to be everywhere. And I know our company, Electrify America, is committed to getting it right. We're not stopping. And so in the next 5 years, you're going to have car manufacturers continuing to work with companies like Electrify America to offer free charging, and you're going to have charging stations everywhere and anywhere, and you're just not going to have to think about charging.
Yeah, that's great. Well, as the owner of 2 EVs and somebody that's with GreenBiz, we're right at the smack dab at the heart of this market.
Yep.
Find that very, very exciting, and look forward to being on that journey with you as we build that out. So, Misti Murphey from Electrify America, thanks for joining us on GreenBiz Studio today.
Thanks for having me.